The current president, sitting President Joe Biden, is actually very wary and mistrusting of his own Secret Service. And that is because of the Secret Service's behavior on January 6th, and because a lot of them were, in fact, loyalists to Donald Trump. So this is a new book called In the Fight of His Life Inside Joe Biden's White House. Author Chris Whipple, writes that Mr. Biden's discomfort with the post-Trump era agency began early on in his presidency, when it became clear that some of the agents charged with protecting him from assassination were strong supporters of the man he defeated in the 2020 election, former President Donald Trump. Mr. Biden's view is also a result of the increased size of the detail assigned to the chief executive, and suggested that the president shouldn't have been surprised by the presence of ex-MAGA sympathizers among bodyguards, because the Secret Service is full of white ex-cops from the South who tend to be deeply conservative. Now, I am not sure if that is a direct quote of him saying they are full of white ex-cops from the South who tend to be deeply conservative. I believe that is from the book itself, but that to me is actually fairly chilling. That the sitting president knows that his security detail. I mean, like we thought that like Sage would do the trick. You go up into the White House, just sage it all, and like change out the gold toilets or whatever. I got to unclog them first from all the secret documents that Trump flushed. But there was a lot of changing of the guards, but not necessarily some of these Secret Service agents. Dan, does that strike you at all? Like that we wouldn't, on the one hand, you don't want to. It's a bad habit to do what authoritarians do, which is getting rid of anyone who held the position under your predecessor, right? That's political purging, and that's actual political purging. But in this case, this is the agency charged with protecting the president. This is your security detail. It seems like you might want to do a little bit of purging.
I mean, yeah, you're right here, and I'm not gonna fault you for this, but let's not remember that Donald Trump did purging, right? So it's not purging to purge out the people who were brought in from the last purge, right?
Right, you unpurge the purge.
Cleaning, yes, that's a double reverse repurge. That's a little Uno card here. I keep it on me at all times just to be safe, but like.
He's a prop comic, y'all. He's a prop pundit.
It's really all I can do, because we know I'm not as funny as you, but like the ultimate like issue, like I'm not surprised. In fact, I'm kind of surprised that actually give it a little bit to like base dark Brandon here. That like, okay, good. Brandon gets a little like +2 black points for me because he doesn't trust even the cops that are surrounding him. I feel good about that personally. I like a president who doesn't trust his cops. That's totally good. But no, like we know just that even quote from the beginning that is saying that, the Secret Service has presidential preferences or political preferences. And so that might put me in danger. That might like have a preference towards if I'm protected or not, if someone wants to stop a bullet for me or not. Like, that's ridiculous. We shouldn't have like, of course it's a given, it's accepted, especially in communities of color, that okay, the same institutions that are supposed to protect and serve us are largely biased against our very existence, sure. But to feel that at the very top level for like Joe Biden, who's like not the epitome of white privilege, but I mean like he's a white male Catholic like president, right? Like he wasn't even like the richest senator ever, right? But like for him to feel that kind of understanding because of political bias shows you that, like we're saying all the time, there's a deep-rooted cultural issue within the police that goes beyond the few bad apples trope. It's the fact that this continues to happen. The fact that, we all know Jeff, he's a pro-Trump guy and he definitely wouldn't take a bullet for old Brandon. But you know what? We love him. He brings in donuts every holiday. He's a good guy, right? He's good police, right? Like that's not the vibe. That's not what we should be doing for creating a better culture of policing. And even that goes up to the Secret Service.
I mean, and then you're hitting on, I think, not the main takeaway and the place we need some real introspection and protection on January 6th, which is how to protect democracy, but it's about law enforcement. I mean, again, I said it before, can we talk about blue on blue crime, huh? Can we talk about all the cops that were insurrectionists who were, again, bludgeoning Capitol Police officers with the American flag or with the Trump flag? So like this, you put your finger on it, Dan. It is really about policing generally. It is about who is protecting and who is serving. Are they being properly vetted? What is their background? And if their background is, I mean, honestly, like if it is just in policing, and then that's not always a good thing, right? Or if they're veterans, that's not always a good thing. What were they a part of abroad, right? Like and it is political. I mean, again, to say that it's not a politicized job, or it can't be, is like, again, saying that the Supreme Court is, they're bipartisan or they're nonpartisan. Lol, right? Like, we all know that's not true. So anyway, the reason that Biden would be concerned, obviously, just going back, Whipple explains it in his book. He explained that the agency had looked both incompetent and politicized by the failures of the agents on Mr. Trump's detail to retain and turn over text messages from the 5th and 6th of January 21, the day before the Capitol attack and the day of the attack itself. It was also one of Mr. Trump's own appointees, the DHS Security Inspector General Joseph Kufari, who had asked agents for the messages and who had later told Congress that all but a single message had been irretrievably lost, while the Secret Service, ordinarily world-renowned for its technical abilities, claimed the deletions were a result of a, quote, migration during scheduled mobile device upgrades. Okay, who's believing that?
That was one of my favorite stories to come out of the whole thing. I remember it's like, oops, we just happened to be doing this thing during the exact time where we want a lot of evidence, where we were clearing data, and we happen to know we were doing this and don't have backups. Whoopsie darn it, that's just, happens. Sorry, just
Dan, when you update your phone, like when you move to like a whatever, you upgrade it, like it immediately erases all of your text messages.
Yeah, doesn't back it up at all. No company has figured that out. No. It's weird.
It's very strange.
Shucks.
But yeah, so this is obviously, we could go into Secret Service has a long history. I don't know if you guys remember the night in Colombia. There was some strip club action happening. There was this was all under former President Obama. They got a shady past, so this is not the first time.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.